The massive crystal dome of the Galactic Council chambers gleamed under the light of 3 suns. Delegates from 12 different species filled the circular hall, their voices mixing into a symphony of celebration. Today marked the end of the longest war in galactic history. 300 years of fighting across 17 star systems would finally come to an end. Ambassador Krell of the Zephyrian Empire stood tall on his 6 legs, his blue skin shimmering with excitement. His large black eyes scanned the crowd as he adjusted the golden ceremonial robes that marked his high rank. Beside him, the crystalline Vorthak delegates hummed in perfect harmony, their translucent bodies pulsing with soft light. The sound was beautiful and peaceful, just like everything about their species. Jake Morrison watched from the human section, his weathered face showing no emotion. The Admiral had seen too much war to trust peace easily. His gray hair was cut short in military style, and his dark blue uniform bore the scars of many battles. He had fought the aliens for 20 years before this treaty, and something deep in his gut told him this was all wrong. Lisa Carter stood next to him, her fingers moving quickly over her datapad. The captain was younger than Morrison, with short, brown hair and sharp green eyes that missed nothing. She wore the same blue uniform as the Admiral, but hers was newer and cleaner. Carter had spent most of the war in intelligence, not on the front lines like Morrison. The ceremony hall was a marvel of alien engineering. The walls were made of living crystal that changed colors with the mood of the crowd. Right now everything glowed with warm golden light, reflecting the joy and hope filling the room. Floating platforms carried dignitaries around the space, while holographic displays showed the treaty terms in dozens of different languages. Helen Brooks, Earth's chief diplomat, smiled as she spoke with other ambassadors. Her silver hair was pulled back in a neat style, and her formal black dress made her look important and serious. She had worked for 3 years to make this peace happen, and today was her greatest success. At least that was what everyone thought. The Galactic Council's leader, an ancient being called the Prime Speaker, raised all 4 of his arms for silence. His voice boomed through translators in every language. Today we end the darkness of war and begin the dawn of eternal peace. No more shall weapons be built for destruction. No more shall our children fear the night sky. Today we become one galaxy, united in harmony. The crowd cheered and clapped and hummed and sang, each species showing joy in their own way. Jake Morrison did not smile. Lisa Carter kept reading her datapad, receiving messages from deep space that the other delegates would never see. The treaty itself was a work of art, written on sheets of pure energy that floated in the center of the hall. The words glowed as each delegate added their signature or mark. The Zephyrians signed with bioluminescent ink that pulsed with their heartbeat. The Vorthak sang their names into the energy, creating beautiful patterns of sound and light. When Earth's turn came, Ambassador Brooks walked forward with slow, dignified steps. The hall fell silent as she reached for the energy pen. This was the moment everyone had waited for. The humans had been the most violent species in the war, the most unpredictable and dangerous. If they would sign for peace, then peace was truly possible. Brooks signed her name with careful strokes, and the energy flowed across the treaty like liquid starlight. The crowd erupted in celebration again, even louder than before. Music played from hidden speakers, and the crystal walls pulsed with rainbow colors. But Lisa Carter was reading a very different message on her datapad. The words came from General Pete Collins on Earth, sent through channels so secret that only a few humans knew they existed. Project Ironwall is now active. All deep space installations are operational. The real war begins now. Morrison saw Carter's face change color as she read the message. He leaned closer to her and whispered in her ear, "How many ships do we have in the outer rim?" Carter typed quickly on her datapad, then showed him the answer. 237 warships, all disguised as cargo haulers and mining vessels. The celebration continued around them, but Morrison's mind was already thinking about what came next. The aliens thought the humans would follow the treaty rules. They thought Earth would stop building weapons and start sharing technology. They thought wrong. Amy Rodriguez was not at the celebration. She was on Europa Station, one of Jupiter's moons, working in a laboratory that did not officially exist. Her team of scientists had been studying alien technology for 2 years, learning how their enemies built their ships and weapons. The treaty said all such research must stop, but Rodriguez had orders to keep working. Rick Davis was also missing from the party. The commander was on Mars, overseeing construction projects that looked like mining operations to anyone watching from space. In reality, massive underground factories were building the most advanced warships humanity had ever created. These ships used stolen alien technology, improved with human engineering. Back in the celebration hall, Ambassador Brooks gave a speech about friendship and cooperation. She talked about sharing resources and knowledge, about building a better future for all species. The aliens listened and believed every word. They wanted to believe in peace so badly that they ignored all the warning signs. Jake Morrison knew better. He had studied the enemy for decades, learned their tactics and their thinking. The aliens were not evil, but they were naive. They thought their superior technology made them safe. They thought their peaceful nature made them wise. They were about to learn how wrong they could be. As the ceremony ended and the delegates began to leave, Morrison and Carter walked together toward their transport ship. The admiral looked back at the crystal dome one last time, watching the aliens celebrate their victory over war. "How long do you think we have?" Carter asked quietly. Morrison checked his watch, counting the time since the treaty was signed. 6 months, maybe less. They will want to eliminate us before we get too strong. Carter nodded and sealed her datapad in a security case. The real work was about to begin, and humanity would be ready. The galaxy was celebrating peace, but the humans were already loading their guns. 3 months had passed since the Great Peace Treaty, and the galaxy was happier than it had been in centuries. Trade ships moved freely between star systems that had been war zones just months before. The Zephyrians opened their quantum drive factories to other species, sharing technology that could cut travel time in half. The Vorthak offered their crystal energy systems to anyone who wanted clean, unlimited power. Everyone except the humans. Amy Rodriguez wiped sweat from her forehead as she worked in the hidden laboratory on Europa Station. The official records said this was a weather research facility studying Jupiter's storms and radiation patterns. In reality, it was the most advanced weapons laboratory humanity had ever built. Rodriguez and her team of 50 scientists worked around the clock, taking apart alien technology and building it back better. The Zephyrian quantum drive that sat on her workbench had been stolen during the last battle of the war. It was supposed to be returned to its creators as part of the peace agreement, but somehow the paperwork had been lost. Now Rodriguez was learning its secrets, understanding how it bent space and time to move ships faster than light. Her improved version would be twice as fast and use half the energy. On the other side of the lab, Dr. Kevin Walsh was working on Vorthak crystal technology. The aliens used these crystals to store massive amounts of energy, powering their ships and cities with clean fusion reactions. Walsh had figured out how to make the crystals unstable, turning them into bombs that could destroy entire fleets. The aliens would never expect their own peaceful technology to be used as a weapon. Rodriguez checked her secure communicator and saw a message from Rick Davis on Mars. The commander was requesting more alien components for his mining operation. She smiled and typed back that the next shipment would arrive in 2 days. Hidden inside a cargo of farming equipment. Mars looked peaceful from orbit, with its red surface dotted by what appeared to be mining colonies and agricultural domes. Alien observers had visited twice to inspect the human settlements, and both times they had seen exactly what they expected to see. Miners digging for rare metals, farmers growing food in greenhouse domes, and families building new homes on humanity's second planet. They had not seen the massive underground shipyards. Rick Davis stood in the main construction bay, 3 kilometers below the surface of Mars. The cavern was so large that clouds formed near the ceiling, and the air recycling systems created their own weather patterns. 50 warships were under construction, their hulls gleaming under the artificial lights. These were not ordinary human ships. Davis and his engineers had taken the best of every species' technology and combined it into something new. The hull design came from human engineering, optimized for speed and stealth. The weapons were based on Zephyrian plasma cannons, but modified to fire 3 times faster. The shields used Vorthic crystal matrices, but enhanced with human computer systems. For better efficiency, Davis walked along the construction platform, inspecting the work on the largest ship. The crew called it the Titan, and it was bigger than anything humanity had built before. When complete, it would carry enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The aliens thought humans were peaceful farmers and miners. They were about to learn. How wrong they were. Kelly Price sat in a classroom on the Zephyrian homeworld, pretending to study their ancient poetry. She was officially part of a cultural exchange program, one of 50 humans learning about alien art and literature. In reality, she was a spy, gathering intelligence on military installations that were supposedly being shut down according to the peace treaty. The Zephyrians were friendly and helpful, eager to share their culture with the violent humans who have finally chosen peace. They showed Price their museums and libraries, their theaters and concert halls. They talked about their philosophy of harmony and cooperation, their belief that all intelligent life should work together for the common good. What they did not show her were the secret meetings, where military leaders discussed the human problem. Price had learned to speak Zephyrian fluently, and her enhanced hearing could pick up conversations from across a room. The aliens were worried about human expansion, about their aggressive nature and rapid technological development. Some Zephyrian generals believed that peace was just a temporary solution. Price used her position as a cultural student to visit historical sites across the planet. Many of these sites had underground chambers that now housed military equipment. The aliens were not dismantling their weapons as promised. Instead, they were hiding them and building new ones in secret. Ben Hayes guided his cargo ship through the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, his hold full of what the manifest called agricultural supplies. The ship looked old and worn, with rust stains on the hull and patches covering micrometeorite damage. Alien patrol ships had inspected it twice, and both times they had found exactly what they expected to find. Farming equipment, seeds, fertilizer, and basic supplies for human colonies. They had not found the hidden compartments. Hayes opened the secret panel behind the pilot's seat and checked on his real cargo. Plasma rifles that could punch through. Vorthic crystal armor, each one small enough to hide in a toolbox. EMP grenades designed to disrupt Zephyrian neural networks, disguised as water purification tablets. Quantum communicators that could send messages instantly across the galaxy. Hidden inside food containers. This was his 5/10th supply run to the outer colonies, and each time his cargo was more dangerous than the last. The human settlements. On the edge of known space were becoming military bases, armed and ready, for the war that everyone except humans believed would never come. Hayes checked his navigation computer and saw that he was approaching the Kepler system, home to humanity's newest agricultural colony. The official population was 2,000 farmers and their families. The real population was 5,000 soldiers, engineers, and technicians, all working to turn a peaceful farming world into a fortress. The colony's leader was Colonel Sam Mitchell, a career military officer who had volunteered for what everyone thought was a boring assignment, managing farmers. In reality, Mitchell was building the most advanced early warning system in human space. With sensor arrays that could detect alien ship movements 3 star systems away, Mitchell met Hayes at the landing pad, helping to unload crates of farming equipment that were actually components for orbital defense platforms. The colony looked completely normal from the surface, with fields of crops and herds of livestock. Underground, however, was a military base that could hold off an alien invasion fleet. As Hayes prepared to leave for his next delivery, Mitchell handed him a sealed message for General Collins on Earth. The message was short but important. Phase 1 complete. Ready for Phase 2 on your signal. Back on Earth, Collins read the message in his secure office deep beneath the Pentagon. Around him, displays showed the status of human operations across the galaxy. Every peaceful colony was actually a military base. Every research station was developing new weapons. Every cultural exchange was actually gathering intelligence. The aliens believed that humanity had accepted peace and was focusing on farming and trade. They had no idea that their former enemies were preparing for the real war, the one that would decide who controlled the galaxy. Collins opened his secure communicator and sent a message to all human commanders. Continue preparations. Target date unchanged. The enemy still believes in peace. The galaxy was celebrating the end of war, but humanity was just getting started. Sam Mitchell floated in zero gravity inside his stealth reconnaissance ship, watching the sensor readings that would change everything. His ship was invisible to alien detection systems, hidden behind a small asteroid in the Kepler Nebula. What he saw through his long-range scanners made his blood run cold. Hundreds of alien warships were gathering in secret, their hulls dark and their engines running silent. Zephyrian battle cruisers hung next to Vorthak crystal destroyers, while smaller escort ships from 6 other species formed protective screens around the massive fleet. This was not a peaceful gathering. This was an invasion force. Mitchell activated his quantum communicator and sent an encrypted message to Earth. The signal would take only seconds to reach General Collins, thanks to the alien technology that Amy Rodriguez had reverse-engineered. Package confirmed. Enemy has at least 400 ships. Repeat, 400 ships massing at Grid 77 Alpha. The response came back immediately. Understood. Continue observation. Do not engage. Mitchell adjusted his ship's position to get a better view of the alien fleet. His enhanced cameras could see details that would be invisible to normal human technology. The ships were not just gathering randomly. They were organized into attack formations with clear command structures and battle plans. Someone was coordinating this massive force. Kate Murphy piloted her own stealth ship through the outer edges of the alien fleet, her heart pounding as she passed within kilometers of enemy vessels. Her ship was even smaller than Mitchell's, designed for close reconnaissance and intelligence gathering. She had been tracking alien communications for weeks, and what she had learned terrified her. The aliens called their Operation Clean Slate. The goal was simple: complete elimination of humanity from the galaxy. Not conquest, not slavery, but total extinction. Every human world would be sterilized, every human ship destroyed, every trace of human civilization wiped away as if it had never existed. Murphy's ship detected an encrypted communication between 2 Zephyrian commanders, and her computer automatically began decoding the message. The aliens thought their codes were unbreakable, but human cryptographers had been studying their language and technology for months. The translation appeared on her screen, and Murphy felt sick as she read it. Final confirmation from the Council. Operation Clean Slate begins in 43 solar days. All human settlements are designated for total elimination. No prisoners, no survivors, no exceptions. The galaxy will be cleansed of this contamination. Murphy forwarded the message to Earth and continued her silent observation. The alien fleet was even larger than Mitchell had reported. Her count showed over 600 ships, with more arriving every hour. This was the largest military force assembled since the Great War began 3 centuries ago. On the Zephyrian flagship, Ambassador Krell stood before a holographic display showing every human world in the galaxy. Red targeting symbols marked each planet, moon, and space station where humans lived. The same alien who had signed the peace treaty with such ceremony was now planning the complete destruction of an entire species. The humans are like a disease, Krell told the assembled commanders. They spread quickly, adapt to any environment, and consume everything in their path. We made a mistake allowing them to exist this long. Peace was never possible with such creatures. A Vorthic general, his crystal body pulsing with angry red light, added his voice to the discussion. Their technology advances too quickly. In another century, they might become a real threat to our civilization. We must act now, while we still have the advantage. Krell nodded and pointed to the display. Earth will be the primary target. Their homeworld must be completely destroyed to prevent any possibility of recovery. The other human worlds can be eliminated by local forces, but Earth requires our full attention. The alien commanders began discussing tactical details, unaware that Kate Murphy's ship was recording every word. Her translation computers worked frantically to decode the complex military terminology, building a complete picture of the alien battle plan on Earth. President Dan Walsh sat in the secure Situation Room deep beneath the White House, surrounded by his military advisors and intelligence chiefs. The reports from Mitchell and Murphy had arrived within hours of each other, confirming humanity's worst fears. The peace treaty had been a lie from the beginning. General Susan Clark, the military's top strategist, stood before a holographic map of the galaxy showing alien fleet positions. "The intelligence is clear, sir. They plan to hit us in 6 weeks, with overwhelming force. Every human world will be attacked simultaneously." Admiral Morrison, recently returned from his diplomatic mission, slammed his fist on the conference table. "I knew it. I told everyone this peace treaty was too good to be true. The aliens were never planning to coexist with us." Walsh looked around the room at his advisors, seeing fear and anger in their faces. "What are our defensive capabilities? Can we stop this attack?" Clark activated another display showing human military assets. "If we fight defensively, we lose. They have 6 times our number of ships and superior technology. But if we implement the Iron Wall Protocol..." The room fell silent. Iron Wall was humanity's most secret military plan, developed over decades of preparation for exactly this scenario. It was not a defensive strategy. It was a first strike plan designed to eliminate threats before they could attack. Amy Rodriguez appeared on the main screen, broadcasting from her laboratory on Europa Station. Her face was tired but determined as she delivered her report. "The Harmony Disruptor is ready for deployment. We have successfully tested it on captured alien neural samples. The weapon will overload the collective consciousness systems used by most alien species." Rodriguez explained how the weapon worked. Most alien species had evolved beyond individual thinking, developing shared minds that allowed perfect cooperation and peaceful coexistence. The Harmony Disruptor would broadcast specific frequencies that would overwhelm these collective consciousness networks, leaving the aliens unable to coordinate their attacks. "The effect is temporary but devastating," Rodriguez continued. "Affected species will experience complete sensory overload and be unable to function for several hours, long enough for our forces to destroy their fleets." Dan Walsh looked at the faces around the table, seeing the weight of an impossible decision. "How long until the disruptors are in position?" 48 hours, Rodriguez replied. "Kelly Price's network has been placing the devices for months. We can activate them across all major alien worlds simultaneously." General Collins appeared on another screen, broadcasting from his command center on Mars. "All human forces are ready, sir. We have 250 ships prepared for immediate deployment, with another 100 in reserve. Our forces are positioned at strategic points throughout the galaxy." Walsh closed his eyes and thought about the choice before him. Humanity could wait and try to defend against an attack that would certainly destroy them, or they could strike first and become the aggressors in a war they never wanted. It was no choice at all. "Initiate Iron Wall Protocol," Walsh said quietly. "All human forces are authorized to engage alien targets. Operation begins in 36 hours. The room erupted in activity as orders were transmitted across the galaxy. Human sleeper agents activated hidden weapons systems, disguised warships dropped their civilian camouflage, and secret military bases prepared for immediate deployment. Sam Mitchell received his new orders while still observing the alien fleet. Instead of continuing reconnaissance, he was now tasked with destroying the enemy command ship. His small stealth vessel carried enough firepower to cripple the alien flagship before they knew they were under attack. Kate Murphy got similar orders, along with coordinates for 3 priority targets. Her mission was to eliminate the alien fleet's communication systems, preventing them from coordinating their response to the human attack. Back on Earth, Walsh addressed the human population in an emergency broadcast. He told them about the alien deception, about the planned genocide, and about humanity's response. The galaxy had celebrated peace, but peace had been a lie. Now humanity would show the aliens what real war looked like, the countdown to operation. Iron Wall had begun, and nothing would ever be the same. The first alien attack came at dawn on New Kansas, a peaceful agricultural world where humans grew food for 3-star systems. The Zephyrian fleet dropped out of hyperspace expecting to find defenseless farmers working in their fields. Instead, they found Lisa Carter's merchant fleet waiting for them. Carter stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the alien ships appear on her sensors. To any observer, her fleet looked like a collection of old cargo haulers and grain transporters, the kind of ships that carried food between human worlds. The aliens had seen these vessels hundreds of times during trade missions, never suspecting what they really were. "All ships, drop disguise and engage," Carter ordered. The transformation was spectacular. Fake hull panels fell away to reveal advanced weapon systems. Cargo bays opened to launch fighter squadrons. Engine signatures changed as military-grade drives came online. In seconds, 20 merchant ships became 20 warships armed with the most advanced technology humanity had ever created. The aliens were caught completely off guard. Their formation was designed for attacking a planet, not fighting a prepared fleet. Carter's ships tore through their ranks with weapons that should not have existed. Human plasma cannons, enhanced with stolen alien technology, punched through. Zephyrian shields like they were made of paper. Admiral Morrison commanded the human response from his flagship in Earth orbit, watching reports pour in from across the galaxy. The aliens had launched their clean slate operation exactly as intelligence had predicted. But instead of finding helpless victims, they were encountering prepared defenses everywhere. On the mining world of Titan's Rest, Commander Rick Davis activated his mining equipment just as alien ships entered the system. Massive drilling platforms revealed themselves as orbital defense cannons, firing projectiles that could crack moons. Underground factories opened to release squadrons of fighters that had been hidden for months. The alien admiral commanding the attack on Titan's Rest sent a desperate message to his fleet commanders. "These are not mining colonies. Repeat, these are not mining colonies. We are facing prepared military installations. Request immediate reinforcement." But reinforcement was not coming. Across the galaxy, every alien attack was meeting the same unexpected resistance. Human research stations were launching missiles. Human agricultural worlds were deploying fleets. Human cultural centers were revealing themselves as military bases. Kelly Price activated her network of sleeper agents throughout Zephyrian space. For months, she had been placing humans in key positions across the alien empire, disguised as cultural exchange students, trade representatives, and peace activists. Now those peaceful humans revealed their true purpose on the Zephyrian homeworld. Agent John Baker triggered the explosives he had been placing in government buildings for 3 months. His cover as an art teacher had given him access to the most secure facilities in the capital city. The explosions cut communication between military headquarters and their fleets in the field. Agent Carol West, posing as a trade negotiator, activated jamming devices throughout the Zephyrian Fleet Command Center. The aliens found themselves unable to coordinate their scattered forces as human technology disrupted their communication networks. Price herself was on the bridge of the main Zephyrian command ship, still pretending to be a cultural student studying their poetry. When the attack began, she drew a hidden weapon and took control of the bridge. The alien crew was so shocked that several minutes passed before they even tried to resist. Amy Rodriguez activated the Harmony Disruptor from her command center on Europa Station. The weapon sent carefully tuned frequencies across the galaxy, targeting the collective consciousness networks that most alien species used to coordinate their actions. The effect was immediate and devastating. Zephyrian crews found themselves unable to think clearly as their shared mental networks overloaded with conflicting signals. Vortex ships lost coordination as their crystal-based communication systems resonated with destructive harmonics. Other alien species experienced Similar effects as their group mind technologies failed under the assault on the alien flagship near Kepler Nebula. Ambassador Krell stumbled and fell as the Harmony Disruptor hit his neural implants. The device that allowed him to communicate with other Zephyrians instantly became a source of overwhelming pain. Around him, other crew members collapsed as their shared consciousness network collapsed. "What is happening?" Krell screamed, holding his head as feedback from the disrupted network sent waves of agony through his brain. "Why can we not think together?" His tactical officer tried to respond but found that he could no longer access the collective knowledge that Zephyrians used to make decisions. Individual thinking was alien to their species, and without their group mind, they were helpless. Sam Mitchell chose that moment to attack the alien command ship. His stealth vessel had been waiting in the shadow of an asteroid, undetected by alien sensors. As the enemy crew struggled with the effects of the Harmony Disruptor, Mitchell launched his entire missile payload at point-blank range. The alien flagship was the largest warship ever built, with shields that could stop a planet-killing weapon. But those shields were controlled by the same collective consciousness network that was now under attack. Without coordination between defense systems, the ship was vulnerable. Mitchell's missiles struck critical systems throughout the massive vessel. Engine rooms exploded, weapon batteries went offline, and life support began failing. The ship that was supposed to coordinate the destruction of humanity was dying in space, its crew unable to think clearly enough to save themselves. Kate Murphy struck the alien communication relay stations with surgical precision. Her small ship was armed with specialized weapons designed to destroy electronics without harming living beings. One by one, the relay stations that connected alien fleets across the galaxy went silent. The Vorthek crystal ships were particularly vulnerable to the attack. Their entire technology was based on harmonic resonance, and Murphy's weapons sent their crystal systems into destructive feedback loops. Ships that had been considered indestructible cracked apart as their own power sources turned against them. General Collins coordinated the human offensive from his command center on Mars, watching as decades of preparation paid off. Every peaceful human facility across the galaxy had revealed its true military purpose. Every hidden weapon came online. Every sleeper agent activated. The aliens had planned to eliminate humanity in a single coordinated strike. Instead, they found themselves fighting for survival against an enemy that had been preparing for this war while pretending to want peace. Collins opened a communication channel to all human forces. Phase 1 complete. All targets engaged. Begin. Phase 2. Phase 2 was the hardest part of the plan. Now that humanity had stopped the alien sneak attack, they had to follow up with their own offensive. The goal was not just to survive, but to win decisively enough that no alien species would ever threaten humanity again. Hayes led a squadron of disguised cargo ships toward the Vorthek homeworld. His vessels still looked like peaceful freighters, but now their true weapons were revealed. Each ship carried enough firepower to level a continent. Hidden in cargo holds that were supposed to contain farming equipment, the Vorthek had considered their homeworld to be perfectly safe, protected by the most powerful defense grid in the galaxy. They had never imagined that human cargo ships would arrive carrying planet-killing weapons. Rick Davis launched his fleet from the underground shipyards on Mars. 250 of humanity's most advanced warships rose from hidden bases and began their journey to the alien homeworlds. Each ship was armed with technology that combined the best of human engineering with stolen alien science. The galaxy that had celebrated peace just months before was now burning with the fires of total war. But this time, humanity was not the victim. This time, humanity was in control. The aliens had made one fatal mistake. They had given humanity time to prepare while believing their own lies about peace. Now they would learn what happened when you tried to exterminate the most dangerous species in the galaxy. 6 months after the alien sneak attack failed, Jake Morrison stood before the rebuilt Galactic Council chambers on Zentara Prime. The crystal dome had been repaired after the battle that destroyed the original structure. But everything else had changed. The circular hall that once celebrated peace now served as a courtroom where alien leaders faced judgment for their crimes. Morrison wore the uniform of Supreme Commander of Galactic Operations, a rank that had not existed before. Humanity took control of 3/4 of known space. His weathered face showed no satisfaction as he looked down at the defeated alien delegates who had once planned humanity's extinction. Ambassador Krell sat in the defendant section, his blue skin pale and his large black eyes filled with fear. The ceremonial robes he had worn during the peace treaty signing were gone, replaced by the simple gray clothes of a prisoner. Beside him, Vorthic leaders flickered with weak light. Their crystal bodies cracked and dimmed from months in human detention. Lisa Carter, now promoted to Admiral, stood at Morrison's right side. Her uniform bore new decorations earned during the 6-month campaign that had brought the galaxy under human control. The same woman who had pretended to be interested in trade agreements was now one of the most feared military commanders in galactic history. President Don Walsh appeared on the main display screen, broadcasting from Earth to address the assembled prisoners and observers. His words would be recorded and transmitted across the galaxy, reaching every species that had survived humanity's response to their betrayal. "You called us a contamination," Walsh began, his voice calm but carrying absolute authority. "You planned our extinction while speaking of peace. You mistook our desire for cooperation as weakness and our diplomatic efforts as naivety. Today you will learn the price of that mistake." The trial had lasted 3 months, with evidence presented by human prosecutors showing the full scope of the alien conspiracy. Intercepted communications revealed planning that went back years before the peace treaty. Documents showed how the aliens had used the ceasefire to prepare for genocide while expecting humans to disarm and become vulnerable. Amy Rodriguez took the witness stand to explain how her team had uncovered alien deception. The scientist who had spent months in hidden laboratories now spoke openly about humanity's secret preparations. Her testimony revealed the full extent of human intelligence, operations, and technological development during the supposed peace. "While you were planning our extinction, we were preparing for survival," Rodriguez told the alien prisoners. "Every treaty provision you violated gave us more evidence of your true intentions. Every secret meeting you held was monitored by our agents. Every weapon you built in violation of the peace accords was matched by 3 of our own. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. The aliens had planned genocide while humanity had prepared for war. The moral authority was entirely on the human side, and the galactic community that had survived the conflict knew it." Rick Davis presented evidence from the secret shipyards on Mars, showing how humanity had built a fleet capable of challenging the combined alien armadas. His testimony revealed the industrial capacity that had been hidden beneath mining operations and agricultural colonies. "You thought we were farmers and miners," Davis told the court. "You saw what you wanted to see, while we built the tools of your defeat. Every cargo ship you inspected carried weapons. Every peaceful colony housed a military base. Every cultural exchange program placed our agents in your most secure facilities." Kelly Price described her intelligence network that had penetrated alien governments and military organizations. The woman who had posed as a student of poetry revealed how she had gathered the information that saved humanity from extinction. "Your security was designed to stop external attacks, not internal observation," Price explained. "You welcomed us into your homes and schools and governments because you thought we had accepted peace. We used your own trust against you." The alien defendants had no defense against the evidence. Their own communications proved their guilt beyond any doubt. The peace treaty they had signed was revealed as a deception designed to buy time for genocide preparations. The moral weight of their crimes was absolute. Ben Hayes testified about the cargo fleet that had carried human weapons across the galaxy disguised as merchant vessels. His quiet voice described how ordinary-looking freighters had delivered the tools of liberation to human colonies and the instruments of defeat to alien HOMEWORDS DOM. Mitchell and Kate Murphy presented evidence from their reconnaissance missions. that had first detected the alien invasion fleet. Their recordings of alien military communications prove that Clean Slate was not a defensive response to human aggression, but a planned extermination operation conceived during the peace negotiations. When all evidence had been presented, Morrison delivered the verdict that the entire galaxy was waiting to hear. The court finds all defendants guilty of conspiracy to commit genocide, violation of treaty obligations, and crimes against galactic peace. The sentence is permanent removal from all positions of authority and placement under human supervision. The aliens would not be executed or enslaved. Humanity was better than that. But they would never again be permitted to threaten any species with extinction. Their governments would be reformed under human oversight, their military forces disbanded, and their technology shared for the benefit of all. Galactic civilization. Morrison announced the new structure of galactic government that would replace the failed council system. The Galactic Authority will be headquartered on Earth, with regional offices on major worlds throughout known space. All species will be represented, but ultimate authority rests with humanity as the only species that successfully resisted the conspiracy to commit genocide. The practical changes were already being implemented across the galaxy. Human administrators worked with local leaders to establish new governments, based on individual rights rather than collective consciousness. Technology sharing programs ensured that all species would benefit from scientific advancement rather than hoarding knowledge for military advantage. Amy Rodriguez had expanded her research beyond weapons development to peaceful applications of the technology humanity had captured and improved. Her laboratories, no longer hidden, had become the primary research centers for medical advancement, environmental restoration, and space exploration. The Harmony disruptor technology that had defeated the alien invasion was being modified to help species that wanted to develop individual consciousness while maintaining their cultural connections. Instead of being a weapon, it was becoming a tool for personal growth and cultural evolution. General Collins oversaw the integration of human and alien military forces into a unified galactic defense system. Former enemies now served together in mixed crews, learning to respect human tactical thinking while contributing their own technological expertise. The galaxy that had once been divided by species barriers was becoming truly unified under human leadership. Trade flowed freely, scientific knowledge was shared openly, and conflicts were resolved through negotiation rather than warfare. President Walsh concluded his address to the galaxy with words that would be remembered for generations. "We did not choose this war, but we finished it. We did not seek dominion over other species, but we will not permit genocide against any species. The galaxy is now united not by fear, but by the knowledge that humanity will protect the innocent and punish those who threaten galactic civilization." Morrison looked around the courtroom one final time before dismissing the proceedings. The crystal walls pulsed with soft blue light, reflecting the calm atmosphere that had replaced the anger and fear of the trial. Justice had been served, and the galaxy was at peace under human protection. As the former alien leaders were led away to comfortable but secure detention facilities, Morrison reflected on how completely the situation had changed. 6 months ago, these beings had planned humanity's extinction. Now they were dependents of the very species they had tried to destroy. The galaxy had celebrated peace while humanity prepared for war. That preparation had not only saved human civilization, but had delivered galactic civilization itself into human hands. The price of underestimating humanity had been everything the aliens possessed, and the galaxy was better for it. History would remember this as the moment when humanity proved that the peaceful did not have to be weak, and that those who planned genocide against the innocent would face consequences beyond their imagination. The galaxy was finally at peace, but it was a peace enforced by those strong enough to maintain it.